But I just think this approach, we're taking a loan for a loan for a loan for a loan for a loan. I mean, when does it ever end? So the argument then becomes about the taxpayer who's pissed off and saying, let me get this straight. You can constantly bail yourself out and you can constantly go print money with this quantitative easing. Why the hell do I have to pay taxes? Why do I pay taxes? If you can, and I know this goes to your argument of the socialism, but why do I pay taxes? It's slightly different than the concept of socialism, because socialism is to give me stuff.
Right.
But why do I pay taxes?
That's right. For my big 40th birthday lunch, there were, at the time that I had lunch with Richard Fisher, who was my boss, there were riots in the streets of Athens. And we ended that lunch with me saying, what's your greatest concern? And his answer was, I worry that Fed policy is going to eventually land us in the same spot as where Greece finds itself back then, with riots in the streets. Now, take my example of the state of Illinois. You're a Chicagoan. Your 401k has been decimated because you're one of millions of Americans who've been told to keep your money in the stock market no matter what. And there's no other school of thought. You've got countless investment advisors all giving the identically same advice to all of America. So you're Joe Q 401k holder and you're pissed off. And you've lost a good chunk of your savings, and you know you're going to have to tack at least another decade onto your work life to make up for what you've lost. Now, the city of Chicago has just bailed out its pension again. So you're told that your property taxes and your state income taxes are going to have to rise to pay for it. Let's just say Social Security and Medicare run out of money. So you're also told by the great people in Washington that your federal taxes are going to have to go up as well. So you're bailing out the pensioners, you're bailing out the federal government, you're bailing out corrupt state politicians and unions who have given way too much more than they could ever afford to pay for. And your next door neighbor's a fireman who's living great, and he's set for life. These are the seeds of social unrest in this country. You can only drive so big of a wedge between the haves and the have-nots, especially when you're gutting out the middle class in the process. If you make very, very little in America today, and I'm talking about today, 25% of Americans who qualify for unemployment insurance are going to make more money in the second quarter than they would if they had not lost their job. That's how big unemployment, that's how big the stimulus bill is by taxing.
Say that one more time. Say that one more time.
So the stimulus bill taxes on $600 for every American, what they get paid by collecting unemployment insurance. So 25% of Americans who are going to be out of the workforce are going to make more in the second quarter, April, May, and June, than they would have had they kept their job. So if you make very little in America today, you're going to get through this. If you're worth a ton of money, you'd long since gone to cash. Let's get honest. If you're part of that 1%. If you're in the middle, you're screwed, and you're pissed, and you're a taxpayer. And that's why I say this could be such a ground roots source. This could be a generational change that brings about, I'm looking at Abraham Lincoln, I'm inspired, that brings about a genuine change in how we approach our leadership in America. And I'm all for it. I'm not all for American families hurting at all, don't get me wrong. But we have gone through multiple iterations of gutting out our middle class.
You can't do that for too long. You lose loyalty. You can't. I mean, you want me to pay taxes. I don't have a problem paying taxes, but I mean, do something with the money I'm giving you and actually deliver on your promises instead of taking care of.
But what if you don't want to do universal basic income and impose socialism? What if you actually hold dear to your American ideals and you want to work hard for a living? Then you're even more pissed off.
Oh, that's the community I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the community of send me free money. I'm not talking about free money. I'm talking about, hey, instead of talking about $1,000 universal income, Andrew Yang policy that became a hit in the Democratic presidential campaign that was going on, I'm talking about, rather than that, what about if you do something that is not paying taxes for a certain amount What for? I mean, I'm not. Anyways, that's a whole different conversation. I don't want to go to that apart. But who owns?
But bear in mind, to your point, before you move on, the Federal Reserve monetizing the U.S. debt is what enables all of this.
Oh,
so appreciate their role.
I understand that, but also at the same time, I want to. I want to make sure that if I am getting to work and I'm working, I'm the middle guy, not the middle or the top. I'm talking the person in the middle.
Yep.
The middle person is like, oh, I can't wait to get these checks. It's going to be great. Life's going to be better than what I was getting paid to. 25% is making less than $15 an hour.
Yep.
So you know how that number is going to work out. The guys at the top, they're like, listen, I'm going to be fine. Everything's going to be cheap. I'm going to buy stuff on sale right now. I'm going to make more money today than ever before.
Yep.
Those guys are fine. The middle guy that's doing his part, her part, that's the person that I can understand why they're pissed off, why they would want to see some kind of reforms taking place.